More on all this, I'm joined right now by political commentator Harlan Hill and Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. Good to see you guys. You know, Harlan, this Rex Tillerson has taken a lot of heat here because apparently Vladimir Putin kind of likes him. He gave him that friendship award and everything. But what is it that you think Democrats are missing on this? In that, you know, why do you think Rex Tillerson, who, let's not forget, ran a massive company that had to do deals all over the world, what is it that they're missing on him?
What I love about this pick is that it is the polar opposite of what Barack Obama did when he was filling out his cabinet back in 2008. Barack Obama went and raided the House and Senate for, you know, the top Democratic brass and pulled them into the administration. What Donald Trump is doing is raiding the Fortune 500 companies across this country and pulling the best and brightest CEOs on board into his administration, and this is just the latest example of it. I think that it's extraordinarily shrewd. This is a guy that's managed over 75,000 employees in dozens of countries. He's negotiated deals that have advantaged Exxon's shareholders, and now he's going to work on behalf of the American people. This is a perfect pick, in my estimation.
You know, ExxonMobil, it's kind of like a small country in a way. And when you think about how many deals and how many places, including many bad places, they had to operate in, Leslie, you know, this is a guy who also knows how to protect his employees. He needs to protect people in the State Department. Hillary Clinton failed when it came to Benghazi to do that. So what is your biggest complaint about Rex right now?
I have a number of complaints. First of all, this is the position of Secretary of State. This man has zero political experience. He has zero diplomatic experience. And one
so you
could
don't
argue
think, you know,
he is against sanctions.
Doing business in Yemen, doing business in Russia gives you any kind of diplomatic experience? I mean, if you want to get a deal done in any of these places, you kind of got to know who to talk to, right? And you kind of got to be able to, you know, make nice to a certain extent in a diplomatic way.
When you were talking about allies, enemies like ISIS in wars, it's very different than when you're sitting down and having business negotiations over economics. And when we look to economics, some could argue what's been done and him being so against the sanctions which we have placed on Russia in the past, that actually Russia, certainly Putin and the Russian people and workers more than it would the United States and the American worker.
This is a guy who's now, instead of working for Exxon, Harlan, would be working for the American public and would be working on behalf of the United States of America. So his goals would be different than, say, if he were trying to increase profitability for shareholders.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his interest when he was running Exxon was to get them into as many markets as they possibly could, both selling and extracting oil. And so for him to, you know, oppose sanctions on Russia makes perfect sense if he's the CEO of. I think that his policy and his perspective on the world and in Russia in particular will be quite different if he's negotiating on behalf of the United States. And look, this notion that the Trump administration is going to be more favorable to the Russians than the Obama administration and the Hillary Clinton State Department, it's just outrageous. You have to remember Hillary Clinton, actually, there was that quid pro quo between the Clinton Foundation and Russia where we exchanged 25% of our uranium reserves for this massive infusion of cash into the Clinton Foundation. This happened while Hillary Clinton was at the State Department.
In other words, so you're saying if you're gonna point fingers, maybe we need to look back to what happened with the Clinton Foundation. Let me ask you both this: what is the chance that actually he may not get confirmed as Secretary of State? Leslie, I mean, what can the Democrats do right now to prevent this from happening, or is this fait accompli if Trump decides he's the guy?
Well, quite frankly, this isn't just about Democrats. We've heard some leading Republicans that are upset by this, and I think this coupled with the news that came out today with Republicans on board with other Democrats and many Americans who say, hey, look, let's investigate the CIA's, thinkings and the Washington Post report from this month, just last week. Here's the thing. Right now, what I see historically Democrats and Republicans do is, as I feel, they kind of roll over for their party. So I honestly think he's going to get the 51 votes. But if Republicans truly feel that this is going to be a conflict of interest or a really roundabout quid pro quo that's going to benefit Putin, in a sense, more than our own country, then I hope that they stand up and do the right thing for the constituents and the country.
But you think it's probably going to happen. I think you're probably right.
Yep.
I think it's going to go through. And the one thing I'd say about it, Harlan, is you know, this is a guy, any way you slice it, is clearly a very bright man. Very bright man. And I kind of wonder if we shouldn't be approaching everything just a little differently. just a little differently, given where we have been for the last 8 years. How might having a CEO of a company like Exxon change the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to quit with these purity tests to make sure that, any sort of nominee is ideologically pure. And I think Democrats have fallen victim to that. And I think the Republicans have in the past as well. I mean, I would be concerned if Rubio, Graham and John McCain were to oppose him. They would just take those three. If those three were to fold, this nomination wouldn't go through. And so it's very tight. I think that he will be confirmed. But I agree with you. Absolutely. We need to have a different perspective when we're deciding who should lead this country and who should negotiate on behalf of the American people.
Harlan, Leslie, good to see you guys. Thank you so much.